We're gonna make food now. Are you guys ready for food? Yeah, we're gonna eat food after I'm done, so that's a good goal to go towards. Let's see. Okay. So my recipe, well, John introduced me. My name's Molly. I'm a dietitian. I work at Tanner Care. I work at UCLA also. And I help people transition to plant-based, and it's really exciting. I'm loving it. I've been plant-based myself for about 5 years. I'm on the journey to plant-based. It's a journey. So the recipes I'm gonna do are on page 20. It's the Moroccan chickpea and sweet potato stew. And then on that same page below that is the tofu sour cream. So that's gonna go on top of the stew. And then the dessert I'm making is on page 26, and that's a banana oatmeal cookie. Yay. Okay. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to try to turn this thing on. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is wake up the spices that we have. So we have a lot of different spices. I don't know if I'm trying to figure out this camera thing. This is my spices. Can you see that? Yay! Okay, so there's paprika and cumin, and I have coriander, turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon. The recipe also includes salt and black pepper, but the recipe that we did tonight doesn't include either of those. And I didn't include salt today. I'm not going to, because I'm focusing on no salt added, no sugar added, and no oil added. So what you would usually do right now to wake up these spices, because they're all dried, we're gonna wake them up so they taste great. You usually use oil, but we're just gonna use water. So it says a tablespoon of water, and the spices go in first. So I'm just gonna put a tablespoon in my pot, put all the spices in, and stir. And then as you go, you're gonna add a little bit more water. This is gonna come into like a little paste. It says medium on the recipe, but you might need to turn it down a little bit. But yeah. Can you guys smell it? Yay. It's so yummy. Okay, so we're using all these spices. This recipe is awesome because we're not adding a lot of salt. All of the ingredients, as I'll show you, don't have much salt in them. The broth has a little bit, but we're not adding salt. So this is going to give the dish a lot of flavor. Okay. Yeah, smells good, huh? Okay, so that's going to go for a couple minutes, and we're going to add onion. I did red onion. It just says onion on the recipe, but you can do, can you see it? Okay, I did red onion. It's just a chop. This is diced onion. So that's what the size of a diced onion looks like about there. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do sweet potato also, and we're gonna do garlic. I am gonna do garlic in this press. Have you guys used a garlic press? That's my favorite thing. This is really easy to use and really fast. And you can just like put it right into the pot. So I'm gonna, I use my knife. I don't know if you could see that. Yeah. So I use my knife and made sure I'm not cutting myself. So I'm putting my hand down on it and just pushing it down, and then that will, you'll get off the outside of the garlic that way. So I did that with all three. I feel like there should be like that Jeopardy music going, like doo doo doo. Yeah. I saw another chef recently do a demo, and they started playing some like bossa nova in the back. I was like, oh, that sounds nice. Okay, so putting all this in. I take my knife and kind of like cut it to take it off of the press. And mine's pretty big, so I can put 2 cloves in at a time. And you gotta work out sometimes to be able to use your press. Okay. Okay. So that's looking good. So this is my onion. This is 1.5 cups of onion. And then I'm gonna put, I'll show you how I cut the sweet potato too. So I have, this is about 3 cups here. I'm gonna show you how to cut the sweet potato. So there I am. Say it again. Oh, yeah, it depends. I mean, sweet potatoes are like small, and then some are huge, like the size of my head. So it, the ones that I got, this is just the end of it. They were about this long, and I used, this was about 1.5 or so, I guess. So the recipe says 3 to 3.5 cups. So I'm really using like my measuring cup to like figure out how much I'm gonna put in there. This is raw. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna dice it. And this is kind of like a medium dice. They look actually like dice, like, okay. So, no, I don't peel them. I eat the peels of everything. I eat, when I'm doing kale, like the stem. I eat the stem. I've kind of gotten accustomed to it, but there's actually a lot of nutrients in the stem of a broccoli, the stem of the kale, the peel, the outside of everything. So it's basically, I feel like I'm throwing away nutrients when I cut that away. So I eat everything, and I encourage all my patients and my clients to do the same. So I'm just cutting like 1/2 cup, just showing you how small it should be. This is a dice. So that's about 3.5 cups. Sweet. Yeah, there's, I'm still trying to figure out the whole yam sweet potato, kind of like, yeah. Yeah, so this is a sweet potato. For sure, this is it's called a Garnet sweet potato, right? Or a Garnet yam. But I've heard that yams are just kind of a nickname for sweet potatoes. So most of the stuff that you see at the market, they're all sweet potatoes. They just have different colors inside. I like this one. It tastes yummy to me, so I'm gonna work with this one. And there's a lighter fleshed sweet potato as well that you could use. There's also a purple sweet potato that is big in Okinawa, which is where some of the longest lived people live. And that's like the majority of their diet is a purple sweet potato. So yeah, so you could choose what you want. I chose this one. Okay, so this is kind of all combining together. This is garlic, onion, sweet potato, all the spices. So this is going to cook, it says on the recipe, for about 7 to 8 minutes. My burner is not so high because I'm talking a lot, but so it should be at medium. And so as this is cooking, if you see anything sticking, you kind of check on it. You can add a little bit more water. So this is like our, or our oil. So yeah, in place of oil, I use water. I use vegetable stock or vegetable broth. You can use wine or beer as well. Some people suggest using juice too, but as John said, I don't normally use juices, either drinking or in recipes, just because they add added sugar. So that's going, and then let's see. So the tomato and the vegetable broth are going in next. So this is what I got from Whole Foods. It's the 365 brand, and it's no salt added. I don't know if you can you guys see that? And this one's awesome because it has just a pop top. I don't have to open it with a can opener. So that's going in next. So yeah, Whole Foods has a lot of no salt added items, like the beans, like I'm gonna do garbanzo beans later. This is also no salt added. Spaghetti sauce, lots of stuff. So you could probably also find a no salt added tomato sauce or diced tomatoes at another store, but this is where I got mine. Okay, so that's all together, and then we're gonna do 2 cups of broth, and I chose, if you can see this one, the Engine 2 plant strong organic vegetable stock. It's low sodium, and this is like the lowest sodium broth that I've found out there. There's only 35 milligrams of sodium in 1 cup. So this whole thing will have 70 milligrams of sodium, which is great. It's really, really low. If you don't have a heart issue? Yeah, some people have low blood pressure and they're recommended to eat salt. So I would say you can have a little bit of salt. Yeah, so you can add, this is a good recipe because for the whole family, maybe you could have some people that do want salt and they could just add it at the end. But just to start, it's going to be low sodium. And then you add, so salt's really easy. You can add it later if you want to. So that was 2 cups of broth. And then you're bringing that to a boil, and then you're going to add the chickpeas. And I got same brand, 365 from Whole Foods, and it's garbanzo beans, and it's no salt added as well, so which is really great. That's that one. This is the tomato. Okay, so this necessarily has not come to a boil yet, but just for our purposes.
Is there a reason why you drain the garbanzo beans?
Well, you could use the liquid if you wanted to. Yeah, if you got chickpeas or garbanzo beans that had salt in them, which a lot of, if you just happen to get some that do have salt, and you don't want to add a lot of salt, then you can drain them and then rinse them. And rinsing them will get some of the salt off. So that's the reason. But you could add the whole, the whole liquid with the chickpeas, and then, have a little bit more liquid in your soup, in your stew. Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of coming to a boil now. So this is a whole can. Mine's like 14. This is 15.5 ounces, but the recipe says 15, I think. But same difference. Say it one more time. Broth and stock. That's a good question. I really don't know the answer to that, actually. I don't know. Does anybody know the answer to that?
I think it's about the same.
You think it's the same?
The low sodium doesn't
Yeah, if you could.
the broth, it's still like 30. It's about the same.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. All right, so we add the chickpeas. That's going to simmer for 25 to 30 minutes, it says. I'm going to put the top on. It's going to do its thing. Okay. And now we're going to move over to the sour cream. So, you guys work with tofu at all? Yeah? No? No, yes? Okay. Yeah, you probably could. It'll be a little bit different consistency, probably like thicker. She asked if you could use beans instead, like maybe cannellini beans or white bean. You could do that. Maybe a cup. Yeah, yeah. So the tofu that I got, can you see this? This is the Silken tofu, extra firm. And I got this on the shelf in the grocery store. It's not in the refrigerator. So there's a few different kinds. So this is the one that I use when I make the tofu. And it firms up really nice, and it actually looks like a dairy tofu, or excuse me, a dairy sour cream. No, tofu's not fermented. No, it just goes through a process to make it like solidify. So I'm gonna open this up. Actually, I'm gonna add the liquid ingredients to this first. It's really simple. It's just, hey-o. Steaming up. Okay. So the liquid ingredients are just red wine vinegar and lemon. So it's really easy. It's just a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. So I'm using a Vitamix. You guys have blenders or Vitamixes at home? Or the bullet, you could use that. I wouldn't necessarily use a like a food processor. I think it's too wide. So like using something that's narrow at the base would be easier. To get like the lemon going, I kind of, where's my knife? Okay. I rub kind of roll the lemon out to get the juices flowing, so it's easier to squeeze it. It's a little trick. And then, so we're gonna do about a tablespoon of lemon juice. So just like if you wanted to put some cayenne pepper or black pepper in your stew, you could also have the sour cream be kind of like spiked. Like it could also be kind of spicy. But today we're just going to use these 3 ingredients. So I'm going to do... Yeah, you can use cayenne or like a chili powder, something like that. Okay, so those 2 ingredients and then the tofu. In the recipe, it actually says to drain it, but there's usually not that much liquid in these containers that I use. So I don't drain it. And it makes it a little bit easier to blend if it has some liquid. Okay. I got that one at Whole Foods, yeah. Yeah, so that's this one. But I've seen it at Sprouts. I've gotten it at Sprouts before. I don't think I've seen it at Trader Joe's. Sprouts, and it could be also at Ralph's or other kind of more conventional grocery stores. And it's in the section usually that has the other Asian products as well. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go for this. Is it on? There it is. Okay. That looks good. Yeah, so it's kind of like a sour cream consistency. Boop. Yep. So that's just kind of like our garnish on the top of the stew. Ta-da! The tofu sour cream. I wouldn't let it sit in the fridge more than like three or 4 days. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of does a little bit of like congealing. So if you're gonna use it like the day after, the next couple days, like kind of stir it up before you use it, just to get it like kind of emulsed together again. Yeah. Okay, so next is page 26 is the cookies. So these are really easy. Let's see how my bananas are. These are like super, super ripe bananas. They might be too ripe, I'm not sure. We'll see how they are. Did you have a question? Is it spitting at us? Okay, I'm just gonna try and take this off. Thank you. Looking good. Yay. This looks good. So you want to check on this one too and just see kind of how it's going. You'll know it's done when you can put your fork in it. And it's kind of there, but it'll be a little bit longer. Okay, cookies. Who likes cookies? Yay. This is cool because it's really easy. It's basically just 2 ingredients. But then you can add a bunch of other stuff if you want. So I'll show you what we did today. Really easy, really simple. I'm going to use gloves because I like to use my hands to mash it all together. So it's just 2 overripe bananas. Like I said, we'll see how overripe these are. But the bananas get sweeter as they get more ripe. So it's going to be 2 bananas in my bowl.
And what we
If it like, yeah. This one's pretty brown, huh? What do you mean? What?
No, if the banana itself has got brown spots.
Yeah, like this brown spot here. Yeah, I would probably take that out. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna just use a little bit of that. Okay, and then it's just a cup of oatmeal, and the oatmeal that I'm using is like an instant oat, so that it cooks up really fast. And the reason for that is that it's cut more than regular rolled oats. So an oat is like rolled out, and then the smaller it's cut, then the faster it will cook. So this one's the quick, and that'll it'll be easier for it to form into an actual cookie if it's smaller. So if you have just regular oats and you put them in your blender or your food processor really quick, it kind of breaks them up a little bit, and then it'll be easier to put the banana and the oatmeal together for it to form. So that's that. And then today we put in raisins and walnuts. But I have like a whole host of other things you could put in there. Pumpkin spice, it's fall pumpkin season, so we could put that in there. Almonds, pecans, flaxseed, chia seed, vanilla, almond extract, any of those things. So, let's see. So I'm just gonna like crush these walnuts in my hand and toss them in there. This is the fun part, where you get to use your hands. Does anybody like using their hands when they're cooking? It's fun. Okay. And then raisins also. These, I don't have like an actual measurement. It's kind of like however much you want to throw in. So I'm just going to throw in like a handful of walnuts and a handful of raisins. And then I'm going to mix them together with my hands. Yay, this is the fun part. You could do that. That's a good idea. Make it even more sweet. Yeah, that sounds good. So raisins in the stew. Could do that. Okay. So this is the consistency. Ooh, fun. This is the consistency. You want to make sure like you really mash all of the banana. But this is a consistency. This might be okay. Sometimes I'd like to add a little bit more oatmeal. So I have secret stash of oatmeal, and I'm going to add just a little bit more, so it's a little bit less liquidy. Okay. And then you could just use a spoon and plop them down on your cookie sheet. I use this silicone baking sheet. Does anybody use these guys? Yeah, I really like it. For cookies, you don't have to worry too much about them sticking, this one, but yeah, it won't stick with this thing. And then you can use this also for other things where we're not using oil. So if you wanted to roast potatoes, something like that, they would be really easy, and they would come up from the pan or the cookie sheet easier without the oil. So I'm using a melon baller and just plopping them down on my sheet. And you can use a spoon also. And that's it. I don't have finished product, but these are 350 in the oven for about 13 minutes. But you'll have some that the beautiful women volunteers have made for us. So you'll see what they look like in just a moment. So that's them. So let's plate our stew. We're going to say it's done. Yeah, it does. Okay. So to plate it, nope, I need this. Okay, I'm going to turn this guy off. So, I'm going to get this. I'm going to do... Oh, yeah. Thank you, John. You're so smart, John. Okay. Yeah. So last step, you put in the spinach. Okay, so about 2 minutes before you're going to actually plate the stew, you put in the spinach, about 3 cups. So I'm not measuring, I'm just going to throw it in there. You could use anything else, too. You could use chard or kale or any other awesome greens and mix it in. Yeah, so this kind of like just wilts down. And I chose this recipe because it's kind of like a complete meal. Like Susan was talking about earlier, when we're talking about meal planning, especially for dinner, maybe she suggested that you have some kind of starch. She said a potato or a rice, some kind of grain. So that would be the sweet potato. And then some kind of bean, which would be the chickpea or the garbanzo bean. And then we have some great vegetables in there, like the spinach that we just put in. So those are non-starchy vegetables. And then we also have tomato and the onion and all of that. So it's kind of like in one pot, you're getting all of your nutrients, it's a complete meal. So this is really easy. It's got a lot of ingredients because it has a lot of spices, but it's pretty simple once you kind of get your spices in there. So that's basically what it looks like. Yeah, it does look a lot better with the spinach in it. Thanks, John. Yeah, it's a lot more beautiful with that green. Okay. And there we go. Okay. And then we're going to do some cilantro on top. And this is just like a chop. And we're going to get our tofu sour cream. That's like, boop, a dollop. And then the cilantro. And then a little bit of lemon. So this just kind of brightens it up. I don't want any seeds in there, so I'm using this little thing. Ta-da! Yeah. So that's it. Does anybody have any other questions? Oh, hey. What's up? What about B12? Yeah, we need to take a supplement for B12 if we're not eating any animal products. So, yeah, it is very essential. There's some pools of B12 in our bodies, so we might be able to last a little bit of time not eating animal products until when we need to supplement, but I would really suggest starting in the first like 6 months if you are going to be completely vegan and not having any animal sources of B12. You take a supplement. There's different amounts that you could take. Be a 2,500 microgram for one time per week, or you could do daily, like a 500 microgram daily, something like that. Yeah. Yes.
Was the tofu soy?
Yeah, tofu is soy. Mm-hmm.
Our speaker told us, because I took
Yeah.
said no soy.
So his point was that we want to avoid highly processed soy products like soy isolates that maybe come in like protein powders or in protein bars, or also meat analogs, which are like meat substitutes, basically when you're kind of transitioning from a standard American diet to a plant-based diet. So this kind of soy is fine, and it's not going to have any detrimental health effects. It's actually really great.
Is there something else you could use besides that, the topping for the tofu? Like if your doctor said don't eat soy?
Hmm. Yeah, we had someone earlier ask maybe you could use beans instead. So like a white bean, possibly. I haven't tried it yet. There. Yeah. What I was thinking of our demo, I'm thinking low fat as well. So we did no added oil, but then I also didn't use a lot of nuts. We did use some nuts in our cookie, but a cashew cream like on top of the stew would probably be a pretty good amount of fat. So I didn't go that route. But if you're okay, yeah, if you're okay with a little bit more fat in your diet, you can go with cashew cream. Yeah. There's a pea protein smoothie. Yeah, there's a pea protein that comes from Trader Joe's. It's unflavored, unsweetened. It's just pea protein. So that's a good accessible one. For the most part, I don't suggest isolated protein powders. For special cases, possibly. So if you have a special case. Yeah, the pea protein from Trader Joe's. But for the most part, I would suggest trying to get all of your protein from sources like the garbanzo beans, other kind of beans, from soy. And then, like John said, there's protein in everything that we're eating. So you don't really have to seek out an isolated protein source. But in some cases, some people need a little bit more protein, so it just depends. So I think we're at the end now. Yes.